The following program is a part of the TCC Connection, Tulsa Community College's student newspaper. Episodes of this season of Podcast for a Day include programming made available by the electronic communication class during the 2022 spring semester. Students were tasked with the creation of their own podcast episode. For the full season of Podcast for a Day provided by the course, visit tccconnection.com or whichever platform you may be listening to. Enjoy the following episode.
Hello, my name is Ethan Gray, and you are listening to a podcast that is called Now That's Unique. Podcast where I like to look at, unique individuals who share a little bit about their life, something interesting, whether it's their career or just their personality or their personal experiences that make them unique. And today, my first guest is someone who truly is unique, who leads a lifestyle that maybe many of us have thought about. And he is a professional wrestler, someone who's done this for about 5 years now, and he's got some good insight about how he got into the business and where his future may be. And he is someone who I believe is a future world champion. His name is Johnny Kove. So, Johnny, thank you for being my first guest. Now That's Unique.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I really appreciate it. My first question, obviously, as a professional wrestler, is where did this start? How did you get interested in becoming a wrestler, and how did that all pan out?
For me personally, it started back when I was a kid, back in fourth or fifth grade. Just really was something that I was passionate about, something that I loved to watch and, play the video games. And then I remember I got a Shawn Michaels DVD, and in the DVD, it talks about him as a kid telling his mom that he was going to be a professional wrestler when he grew up. And that's when I went and I told my mom the exact same thing, even though she didn't believe me. But that's about when it started, when I was 10 or 11.
And so from then on, when you were in high school and about to graduate, was that where you thought you were going to end up becoming a wrestler? And how did that happen? Did you have to seek out somebody to get started?
Yeah, in high school, didn't really know what I wanted to do after. I'd always been passionate about wrestling, but I didn't see it as a obtainable, career path. So I just went to college like, most people do. But then in college, just wasn't feeling like that was for me. And so, getting back into wrestling like I was when I was 10, I really started to look at that as a career path. So I had to look online near, like, if there was a wrestling school, because I didn't know if there was anything. But I found a wrestling school in Oklahoma City, and then a friend of mine, he agreed that we would both go to it the next year, and that's how we got started.
And that's interesting because, it's not like a regular job where you just sit down for an interview and have your resume. This is something where you've never done it beforehand, and now you have to take the training. So what is that training like? Obviously, it's a very active sport. What type of training did you have to go through to prepare yourself to become a wrestler?
Well, for me personally, I took a full year to just try to get in the best physical shape that I could before even starting training, because I assumed that everybody would be, huge, these giant guys that I've seen on TV. But then actually going there, it's just, guys more my size or a little bit bigger. And the training was more, physical, learning how to properly do moves, holds, and not get hurt by protecting like your neck and your head.
Obviously, yeah, like you said, wrestling for so long, we've all seen it as these giant, muscled up people who are larger than life. And, it's a lot different now. So, in your opinion, what is what has changed about this industry? I know there's a TV show called The Young Rock that details a lot about some aspects of wrestling. And in your opinion, how has wrestling changed from when you were watching back in, I guess, the 2000s to now in 2022?
I think it's mainly changed due to it being more obtainable to just about anybody. You can go online on YouTube. There's hundreds of millions of just matches and wrestling companies. And, back when I was watching as a kid, it was mostly just WWE or this other company called TNA. But now there's like anybody can, it seems like, start up their own local promotion. But then there's also like 7 other promotions on TV now.
And speaking of that, as someone who's wrestling at local shows, I know you've wrestled in Tulsa and throughout Oklahoma as well as Texas. Where do you hope to end up in the next few years at one of these promotions?
Everyone probably says they'd like to end up in the WWE. But for me personally, as long as I can do this, make a good living, travel, get to see the world, then, I'm fine with that. But if I had to pick one promotion to end up in, it would be All Elite Wrestling, probably.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen that they're on TV and on TNT. Pretty big deal. And going from there, I'd like to ask, how hard is it to divide your time? I know being a wrestler, that's not always your full-time career at the beginning. A lot of these guys have to, like yourself, have to have a side job. And, how hard is it to have your personal life and your life as a wrestler? Is that hard to coexist?
Yeah, it can be if you get distracted in professional wrestling and you're getting, you're picking up steam, you're getting booked more, but then, you might have to, put your job on the back burner, and sometimes that's not the best idea until you can actually maybe uh, quit your job to pursue it full time.
And that's not always easy, obviously.
No, it's Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, like you were saying, yeah, if you have to quit your job to truly fulfill this career, it's very hard, especially if you have a family, or especially, if if you have an apartment or house and getting, how to pay for that. It's very challenging. So was there anyone in the wrestling industry that you've worked with or who mentored you, who gave you any tips to be successful, to help you on your way to become a famous wrestler?
I can't really pinpoint a specific guy, but there's been tons of people who have helped me along the way so far, who've given me, a little bit of information here and then some more here. And sometimes they contradict each other, but at the time you just gotta, you take what from the more experienced guys and you try to apply it. And then just as you get more experience, you learn as you go.
Hmm. And because we're running out of time, I'd like to provide anyone listening, where can people find you to see your career, to get to know you a little better, and also get to see some of your matches?
Yeah, if you want to go to YouTube, type in Johnny Kove. I'm on there. Twitter, Johnny Kove 1, Instagram, Johnny Kove Pro. Basically, just type in Johnny Kove on social media, and you should be able to find a profile or a video or whatnot, and I'll be on there.
And I will definitely provide that information and some links to your site at the bottom of this description once this podcast has been posted. But Johnny, I'd really like to thank you for being on this podcast. My guest today was Johnny Kove, a professional wrestler and someone who may very well be a professional champion one of these days. And this has been my first episode of Now That's Unique. And I would like to say farewell and let everyone know to check us out next time. Thank you.